All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipovich Show is my friend, the Reverend Billy Talen. Reverend Billy is, of course, the pastor of the Church of Stop Shopping, which you can find at revbilly.com. You can also find him on Twitter at revbillytalen. Reverend Billy, thank you so much for being on the show again.
St. Matthew, it's a pleasure to be here today.
So Reverend Billy, I was very, very happy to hear about a week ago you actually had some very ridiculous charges dropped against you. Why don't you just lay out the entire case and what actually happened? But because what they were charging you with was ridiculous, but the good news is it got dropped. But what exactly happened and what did they charge you with initially?
Well, we are activists who come from the performance arts angle, and we performed a 15-minute piece with the choir in the lineaments of a climate change-killed amphibian, the famous golden toad, one of the first species in the world to be declared by scientists to have been killed by climate change. And we were in the bank lobby of J.P. Morgan Chase. And it wasn't just another Chase branch. It was an uptown Manhattan wealth management bank. And we found a bank that, by some accident of architecture, it had an escalator that made it possible for us to go in our toad costumes all the way up to the third floor. So we were in a small lobby area, but we were surrounded by walnut desks and plush carpets and people in tailored clothing and counselors, banking investor counselors with wealthy people discussing their investments. And our research has it that Chase is the fossil fuel bank par excellence. It comes down from Standard Oil, of course. It invests in resource extraction and in coal, gas, and oil projects around the world that put CO2 and methane and nitrous oxide into the air. And the pleasure of being there and interrupting those conversations was really special. We were activists in the devil's lair. And we handed out information, we sang our songs. So I was in my Reverend Billy outfit, in my full chicken polyester whites with the Elvis hair and the right wing preacher narrating and preaching. And we left within about 15 minutes. We left of our own accord. We've trained with Rainforest Action Network in nonviolent direct action. We definitely advised them that this is a protest. It will be over in a few minutes. We handed out information about what we were doing. I think a couple people were scared, but that always happens, always, in breaking into a consumer environment. Long story short, we were arrested on the F train platform about a half hour later. My music director and myself were taken to a precinct house and booked, and eventually faced, to our amazement, charges that befit an anti-terrorist campaign. We were charged with riot, menace, and unlawful assembly of extinct toads, I guess. And so we had 1 year in prison hanging over our heads for almost 2 months while we waited for our opportunity to defend ourselves in court. That happened a week ago, Monday. And in that 2-month period, we received support from around the world, articles in The Guardian and Grist and Vice, and we just experienced lots of support from people, from the press, petitions, money. People just rose to help us, and it was a great thing for us, partly because we become isolated. We we're in New York where there are not a lot of environmentalist activists, and we're taking a strange approach, which is at the point of purchase, at the where the public comes in, which is not how Chase is used to being confronted, or B of A, or Citi, or UBS, or any of the other banks that we've performed in. It's an area that we as performers, we consider that the stage, and so we're in a kind of a unique aesthetic here, Matthew, and we get isolated. And it was a revelation for us to receive this support. It must have, why they dropped the charges is mysterious ultimately, but it may have something to do with how public the support became.